VFLs are leading new eras. VFLs are spread across teams in the playoffs right now. And then on the home front, VFLs are breaking hearts and shutting mouths. More coming at you after this intro.
Please remain seated.
Good Sunday evening. This is Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange Sports Channel on YouTube. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is the first installment of what I'm going to do weekly on Sundays, a little later than I want to today, but the VFL review. So a VFL, we can term it how we want to. A VFL to me is someone who has spent their time at Tennessee and they go pro, they go on to what they're doing in life. I've seen this topic on numerous places of VFL. To me, when a VFL leaves and goes somewhere else, thank you for your time. Thank you for your effort. But you're not a VFL if you leave on your own. That is my opinion. I will stick to it on it. But I want to get into that. Just a weekly installment we'll do talking about Vols in the pros. Talk a little bit, review what's happened on campus at Knoxville for the week as well. But the biggest news to me this week in terms of Tennessee, Gerard Mayo named the head coach of the New England Patriots, succeeding Bill Belichick, who's going to go down as one of, if not the greatest head coach in NFL history. Based on what happened this evening in Dallas, wouldn't surprise me to see Bill Belichick back on the sidelines again by midweek. So it remains to be seen. But Gerard Mayo takes the reins of the Patriots. Does he bring his own Patriot way? I've seen a lot of good endorsements for him getting the job. I know a couple years ago when Jeremy Pruitt was fired, I didn't see so much analysts or anything mentioning Mayo for the Tennessee job, but I did see some fans wondering because Mayo's been talked about for a couple years as a guy ready to get a head coaching job. So now he takes over the Patriots as the youngest active head coach in the NFL at 37 years old. So some of you that may not remember, a lot of you younger guys, probably students of mine who are now, former students of mine who are now in college, Gerard Mayo played at Tennessee. He was on the roster from 2004 to 2007. Come out of the Tidewater, Virginia area, up around Hampton. Played linebacker for Tennessee. Now, reading through his bio and stuff, it's pretty interesting. In high school, he played some running back, was a pretty good running back as well. But at Tennessee, he played linebacker, started off at outside linebacker, transitioned his junior year to a middle linebacker. He earned, depending on the publication, he earned some All-American honors. And then he came out early for the 2008 draft, was drafted 10th overall by the Patriots. And so, he did a lot of things. So he, let's see, his career, he went, looks like he went through 2016, February 16th. He retired from the NFL, retired playing for the Patriots. So he played his whole career there, and now he's going to be the head coach there. I think it's a big deal for Tennessee. There's coaches around the league, but not those head coaches. So former VFL Gerard Mayo, congratulations to him. Hope he does well there. Moving on to the next part, of course, you got the NFL playoffs going on right now. I got to looking at the rosters of who is still remaining or who's in the NFL right now. And from what I counted, not included, this is not all teams, this is just teams in the playoffs. I counted 12 guys on roster. So some of them, you had John Kelly and Cedric Tillman for the Browns, Princeton Fant, Cowboys. So those guys are gone. Derek Barnett with the Texans now. He influenced that game yesterday. Trey Smith with the victory. I'm showing A.J. Johnson with the Dolphins. They got put out yesterday. And then you got Juwan Jennings still with the 49ers. They play next week. Byron Young with the Rams playing tonight. And then the Lions with Hendon Hooker, Emmanuel Mosley. I know Hooker's not playing. I think Mosley's out for the year. Jalen Reeves-Maven and Cam Sutton. Maven's had a big year, named an all-pro team. I've seen his name mentioned numerous times. So Lions and Rams playing tonight. So 5 former VFLs, one way or another, involved in that game. So we'll see. Does another VFL possibly win a title this year? No, Trey Smith got one next year. Do we have another VFL who adds one again this year? Again, this is just Vols in the playoffs. Of course, there's more guys spread throughout the league as well right now. So then, so that's a little bit about in the pros. And now looked in the NBA this week. So right now I'm showing 7 former Vols in the NBA, led by Tobias Harris and Grant Williams. That's kind of your main 2. Josh Richardson, he's playing a role once again for the Heat. And then you have Keon Johnson with the Nets, Julian Phillips with the Bulls, Admiral Schofield, and Jalen Springer. Springer is with the 76ers right now. Like I said, Harrison Williams, they're playing the biggest roles for their teams right now. Of course, Richardson, pretty good player. He's kind of turned into that journeyman who's played for a lot of teams at this point. But that's your Vols in the NBA right now. Again, 2 Sixers with Harris and Springer on there as well. And then getting on the home front this week, of course, biggest video in the House of Orange history yesterday. It's a short history. It's not quite 2 weeks old, but it's still gaining views. The Georgia game recap. And I said, if you're going to dance, if you're going to talk smack, if you're going to do all this stuff while that Coliseum's rocking, you better make sure Dalton Knecht is done with. He wasn't. Put that team on his back. But, after looking at it and reviewing some of that, I think it was understated how big of a role Jonas Adu played in that game. His defense in those last 5 minutes and what he did was top notch. It was big time. Dalton Knecht, of course, Zakai Ziegler played a big role as well, but Dalton Knecht put the team on his shoulder. Goes without saying that what would this team have been without Jonas Adu? Good game for him to bounce back after not – I wouldn't say he had a bad game against Mississippi State. He didn't have a good game either, as Smith gave him a real hard time. Really, those inside guys had a tough game. They bounced back against Georgia yesterday. So a 1-1 week for the Vols that put them to 12-4, 2-1 in conference with Florida and Alabama coming up this week. And I'll have preview videos coming on that. A little bit about the Lady Vols. They had a 1-1 week. They're now 10-6 overall, 3-1 in conference. So it's not a Lady Vols record that this program is used to. We'll see where they go with SEC play. Good start getting out 3-0, had to loss to Texas A&M. Where do they go from there? Where does this team end up the end of the year? And then baseball's right around the corner. I mapped out a lot of stuff tonight that I'm going to bring this week. Should be pretty heavy with it tomorrow, but I've got a lot of content planned for basketball and baseball. I got some content planned for football as well, but I'm going to preview all the positions for baseball. And then if you get this, and I want you to answer this question for me, if you're able to. Do you think Tony Vitello can win in Omaha? Can he lead that team to a national championship in Omaha? I have a lot of thoughts on that, and I love Tony Vitello. You may be surprised where I go with that on it. And I won't put this question down on social media to see if I can get any feedback as well. I'm curious to see what the fan base thinks. I know he's universally loved in this fan base. But so the Vols' perfect game for their preseason polls this week. Tennessee come in at number 11 on that. And then they also had 3 preseason All-Americans with Drew Beam, with Billy Amick, and with Christian Moore as well. Can they can they exceed the initial expectations there? And I know there was photo shoots this week. You'll start seeing a little bit of that as well. But I'll get into that preview this week. And I thought it was pretty big news too. Lady Vols softball. Softball America released their polls and ranked the Lady Vols at number 2. Number 2 coming out in Softball America. Of course, they're led by first-team All-American, pretty much unanimous on that, Kiki Malloy. And then, of course, they'll have to replace their pitcher from last year. But, a lot of the Diamond Vols, not just baseball, but softball as well. A lot of expectations this year. How far can those teams go as well? But I think I covered about everything for football. How do I forget football? Got the transfer tied in from Alabama this week. Of course, the portal giveth, the portal taketh. Gerald Mincey left, goes to Kentucky. So Tennessee will see him next year. I got to think there's some guys that might be licking their chops a little bit when Kentucky comes to Knoxville next year. Tennessee's waiting on Lance Hurd from LSU. That's kind of the big thing right now. And then, of course, when will George McIntyre make his announcement? Steve Wilfong, 24/7 Sports, who's normally pretty good with his predictions, has predicted McIntyre to Tennessee this week. And you got to think, it seemed to be, from what I've been reading, Tennessee has had the edge over Alabama. With Nick Saban returned, you've got to think that's intensified as well. But does he give Alabama that shot? Does he want to listen to Kalen DeBoer? Where does it go from there? But that I feel are the two big things Tennessee football is waiting for. We'll hear from Hurd, who would be a huge addition, and then, of course, George McIntyre setting that 2025 class off in gear. But hope you guys enjoyed the comment. As always, if you like this, subscribe, share it out. I'd appreciate that as well. But my name is Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange Sports Channel. You can find it on YouTube. The links at the end are on social media. And as always, go Vols.
Everyone rejects me, even in my best dreams.